4, 3, 2, 1, 0. I hear voices in my head, they counsel me, they understand, they talk to me. Ooga chaka, ooga, ooga, ooga chaka. Phenomena. Tiptoe through the tulips with me.
You are about to experience the awe and mystery which reaches from the inner mind to
Dark supernatural. This one's explosive.
Attention, please. It's time to freeze. As the lies are raping, souls are escaping, leaving holes gaping wide inside where there's nowhere to hide, to darkness where nothing but trouble. Once again, it's time to pop the reality bubble.
What's up? You're tuned in to Talk Supernatural Radio, where we bring you the spiritually bizarre from the U.S. to the U.K., Rhode Island to Easter Island, up north to down under, from the outback to the front door, and even through Happy Adventure Canada to Emo Ireland. And if you are listening, you are right where you're supposed to be.
The views and opinions and personalities expressed on this show are those solely of TSR and do represent who we are and what we believe. If you don't like satire, if you find rabbit trailing annoying, if you don't like to laugh, if you can't handle the truth, do not listen to this show. We are not responsible for your nightmares, denial issues, bleeding ears, or annoyance.
What's happening, my colleagues of Creepy? We are Heidi and Scott Linden, investigators of the supernatural, and we're glad that you've tuned in. We broadcast to enlighten, educate, entertain, not always necessarily in that order, but nevertheless, here we are for you.
So with all the crud going on in the U.S. regarding the election, it'll be nice to escape with some supernatural weirdness tonight.
Yes, weirdness.
So you want to tell listeners what's on the docket tonight?
Tonight, a comedy tonight.
No, don't do that.
Something-
So lame. That's so lame.
Okay. Tonight we have a few supernatural stories that bring up some thought-provoking points and topics. And one of our stories is a political report. Imagine that. With a supernatural spin. And this is going to get real creepy.
So from possession to spirit cooking, let's get the whole bizarre thing off our chest.
The world is a vampire.
I wish there were cameras in here so people could actually see what you're doing. Jamming out, rocking.
It's not true.
All right, so in addition to the multiple creepy clown sightings,
Yes.
yeah, we've had clown threats.
Yes.
What else was there? There were clown bans.
Yes.
But did that whole clown purge happen?
Yes.
Okay, so we have the criminal clown reports and the clown purge that was
Maybe they
rumored.
were just clowning around.
Really? You think that one hasn't been used? That one totally
No,
been...
it's not. I'm an originator.
You're an originator.
I'm an originator. Ask me. Ask me if I'm an originator.
No, I don't trust anything you say right now. So did the clown purge happen? It was rumored to take place on Halloween. Remember, it was like everybody,
Right.
even in our town, kids
Right.
were afraid to go trick-or-treating because
Right.
clowns were supposed to attack everybody.
Right. Yes.
Well,
Yes.
if idiotic, evil, and crazy people really intended on doing the purge, social media helped diffuse it before it happened because word quickly spread about the event, and police throughout the U.S., the U.K., Australia, they were all ready, and they warned people not to participate. Many places even banned clown costumes.
Yeah.
I know our
Took them off the shelves. And...
Yeah, our son's friend was only in like third grade, and he came to a school Halloween dance or whatever they had, And he came in a clown costume. And they made this poor little kid take his costume off. And he was all, like, upset and everything.
He's like the third grader. I think it's okay. And he probably wasn't like a creepy, mean clown either. It was
Right.
probably a happy little clown. It's like, come on, people.
Well, you know, there's always a bad apple in the bunch.
I know, but
they got to ruin it.
He's 3 feet tall. I mean, how dangerous was it?
Oh, I know. I totally agree. But some of these bad clowns
I
want
mean,
to ruin
I understand it, but
It'd be fair to everybody.
I would have just let it go.
Well, political correctness is making me
Yeah,
sick.
I know. Just
I'm
let it
so
go.
tired of it. Let it go.
Let
it go.
Let it go. Let it go.
All right, well, so many places, like I said, banned the clown costumes, and the people were ready as well as the cops. A lot of people were posting that they had their guns and they were going to use them.
Yeah, well, I mean...
Who defend yourself. People
blame
don't know.
them.
Even if there was a group of kids that were maybe like teenagers or whatever, just doing it as a prank, there's also a whole group of people that were, scaring people half to death. I had a person that I know on Facebook, and they have those cameras outside of their house to keep security, whatever, in their drive.
Yeah, absolutely, Eddie.
And when they checked the security, they saw that, like, at 2 a.m, there was a clown out on their porch. Now, really? Who does that? I wouldn't be able to sleep
Obviously,
for
that
days.
clown does it.
I wouldn't be able to sleep for a long time.
Maybe they knew that these people had a camera, and they were just like, okay. Check
No,
this
they
out.
didn't
No?
even acknowledge camera. They were. It looked like in the video that they were coming up to maybe just see. I don't even think they were going to rob anybody. I think they were just coming up to see if they could scare anybody, if anybody was around. You know, people do come home at 2 a.m. after the bars or whatever. But they got disinterested and walked away. But the clown was up on their porch and walked
Poor
away.
clown. He had a schedule. He had things he wanted to do. People to freak out and scare and put into a massive heart attack or panic, and nothing.
Poor clown.
Clowns' lives matter.
Well, let's see. Besides people being ready, from guns to mace, just in case, a couple days prior to Halloween, a man in San Diego actually got attacked and stabbed by clowns. But no reports of anything
Quit clowning around.
Though these have just been beaten to the ground so bad.
I know. I don't have a lot to work with.
They're so lame. You should have thought about it.
I know. There's only so many clown jokes.
So no reports of anything clown, creepy, stalking related.
No, it's dying.
You notice how? No, it actually just died out instantly. And after this Halloween thing,
maybe it was the fact that the police from all different places said, okay, you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah,
we're not messing around. And maybe some of the people that would just wanted to be idiots were like, okay, so maybe I better not do this time.
Yeah, because it just stopped instantly. That was weird. Or
are they planning something major?
Ooh, like the Eye of the Storm?
Meets clowns.
Ooh.
Head-to-head competition. Guns and noses.
Oh, my God. That was original. That was a good one.
And I just came off the top of my tongue. Yeah. Or the bottom.
Either way. Well, what do you think about it maybe being a spiritual thing, that there were demonic spirits sort of ensuing all this, and then
What?
Yeah.
With the clowns?
Yeah. Well, no, I don't necessarily mean like, the people who were pranking, but there were a lot of, there were pedophiles, there were people with machetes. What?
You can have a machete or two at your side, if you got a banana tree you got to cut down, you got to have a little
Didn't happen in
machete,
Jamaica.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, got to cut the banana tree down. Well, I got the machete, man.
You're my clowns, man.
Yeah, man.
I don't know. I just think it was weird. I don't know. You see things that happen in waves, like we talked about with the Postal Service a while back when everybody started killing people at Postal Services.
They're blowing postal.
And exactly, that's where the term came from.
I know.
And then,
it happens.
And then there was a huge wave of shootings at schools for a while.
Yeah, well,
then there was a huge wave of shootings like in public places. So what about like machete clowns being demonic? No, like
there's always an influence of I suppose there's a percentage of these people that were truly out to do some major problems, and they found a way of copycatting other people. There's like, they'll never know who I am. I can legally walk around like this. Can't be identified. It can't be identified by possibly even height. Could be manipulated through the tall hats and stuff they may wear. The fact that even the color of skin can be hidden through
Yeah,
that. The
yeah.
color of hair,
Everything.
the color of eyes, everything can be manipulated through a clown uniform.
Even your
so
sex, because sometimes those outfits are so
I don't
baggy
think
you can't
clowns
tell.
should have sex.
No, multiply into little baby clowns.
Yeah.
I meant male or female.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's all crazy, and
I think the nose would get in the way myself. But anyways.
you don't have. I'm never gonna get in this. All right. So, anyways, okay. So I don't know. I just think that was
big
weird.
shoes, too. That'd just be weird.
All right.
My,
So
what large feet you have. Anyways.
you know how we have creepy clowns? Well, what about creepy white bunnies?
That's not until Easter.
Well, over the last year, a 6-foot-tall white rabbit, or person in a rabbit costume, has shown up in the same spot in West London every first day of the month. And he appears near the Barnes Bridge. So, okay, you got clowns, which some people have a fear of clowns because it's sort of creepy.
He's running rabid.
But it's a rabbit.
He needs to quit hopping around.
Really? You crack yourself up. I'm glad. That's... Right now, you're probably the only person laughing. You're so weird.
So stupid. That's why I come up with all this stupid stuff.
Well, this white rabbit puts on like a pattern vest and a multicolored scarf, and he waves at people driving by. Sometimes he has props, and sometimes he is on themed accessories for the rabbit costume. So, you wonder, do people find the consistency of it odd? Like he's there every first Friday or something? That's weird.
Yes.
Why would somebody do that?
Because they want to.
That's creepy.
Suit yourself then.
And I don't know. Well, don't you think that would be weird?
No. I do it, but I don't do it on Fridays. That's stupid. I do it on Thursdays.
Oh, okay. Or what about them not being able to see the face? Like, they don't know who's really behind there. Do you think that bothers people more?
It's a 6-foot rabbit. That is his face.
No, it's not. It's a person in a costume.
Oh, you've seen it?
Yeah,
You've been there?
I've seen the video.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we're going to put the videos up on Facebook, too,
Okay.
so that people
Yeah.
can see it.
All right. Oh, Miss Know-It-All.
I think that, like, weird or scary movies put concepts into our
Sure they do.
minds. And then that's why we would fear the fact, I mean, if you took not one scary movie, never saw a scary movie in your life or any kind of scary image, and you started seeing clowns walking around or white bunnies showing up like that, you wouldn't be scared because you'd just be like, okay, that's sort of funny. But when you start seeing scary movies,
Right.
now you're like,
It's just something somebody thought of.
what's the point?
I don't know. Like, people
So
just,
weird.
they need attention in different ways or just want to be that freaky guy.
Oh, he probably didn't get a lot of attention growing up. Maybe he was the last.
Yeah.
The
Maybe
last
he didn't
kid.
get anything.
Middle. He was the middle child. It was
Maybe
Jan.
he never got anything for Easter.
It could be.
And maybe, or maybe he is a 6-foot rabbit.
It could be. That could be. It
Or
could
she.
be.
Or she.
Female rabbit. Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know.
you don't know.
Do rabbits have teats?
Huh?
Teats? Do they? Rabbits don't, do they?
I can milk them.
I'm just wondering, how would you know a female rabbit? Well, I guess you would know,
Anyways,
Well, I just think it's sort of creepy that someone would just... I mean, how many people got really scared of hockey masks or chainsaws because of... Who was that? Was it Jason?
I wanted to get one of those because, I'm always cutting wood and always chopping wood, and I just wanted to have one.
No.
Anytime I chop wood, I just want to have one.
No, that's not a good image. It's scary.
It's just something I feel like I got to do,
I think it's wrong. That'd be scary.
It's,
You'd scare people.
It's a nice toy for the kids, a little chainsaw, a little mask, a little machete action, It's nice. Smooth,
All right, so you said you don't remember the Johnny Carson, Ed McMahon,
Well,
Karnick.
I do, but
You just don't remember?
I just, that's quite a while ago when we were younger. So.
Well, what he would do is Johnny Carson would have this big turban. Is that what they call those things?
Right.
And then he would read clues off a thing, and then Johnny Carson would say, like I would say, funny, cute, and hardworking, and you'd say,
Me.
yeah, that's exactly. That's what I was
Yeah.
thinking. See, you're good at this.
I am.
But
All positive things usually are revolved around me. Ask me.
yeah, exactly. But
Modest.
they would do a joke or whatever.
Yeah, right.
So like,
I remember it, but not. Yeah, I do remember it, just
Yeah.
not real well. He made some you'd go. When do you make some sound too? Like They have some music.
No,
That would
he'd
go
blow.
with it?
No, he would just blow in the envelope and open it up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but so I was gonna give, but it doesn't matter now because you never did it. But I was gonna give you a thing: claw print, bedroom door, and Satan.
What is an alleged victim of demonic possession?
Yes, you're good.
I am good, and
We
I
didn't-
can read.
Yeah, we didn't rehearse this at all.
There are claims that a clawed handprint was burned into a bedroom door, and the unnamed victim has pleaded with paranormal investigators to help after claiming the Catholic priest refused to carry out an exorcism.
And we are going to put these pictures up.
Maybe he already exorcised.
Oh my god! After the show, I'm going to put up pictures of the claw print on the
Yeah.
door. It's pretty interesting looking.
Maybe it was a Yeti.
Yet, well, not unless they lived in the Himalayas. But I don't think they do. Well, this family told investigators that something unnatural was making them increasingly violent. The investigators are the U.S.-based MUFON, which is the Mutual UFO Network. And they're the world's largest organization dedicated to UFO research, but just because they're so popular and they're under the paranormal umbrella, they do receive reports of alleged paranormal activity as far as
That's the job
spirits.
I want.
What, chasing UFOs?
Well, the thing is, you don't really ever have to be right.
We're not talking about weathermen.
I know, but I mean, you could say, yes, and I believe this and that and this and that, and the people are like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know if they get paid for it. They just...
You don't go to work every day and be this huge major thing and not get no money.
We podcast. We go to
We
people's
are
houses.
rich and famous. Just, I mean,
Yeah.
right. Anyways, out of privacy, not much has been released about the client's name, age, or sex. But they are from Carpentersville, Illinois.
So not the Himalayas.
So they wrote, I don't know exactly how to describe what's happening to me, but I know that I need help. They go on to say, there's something that's attached to me, and it's not human. It, or they, has been attached to me since I can remember, and I'm 12. As I get older...
No, we don't know how old they are. They're not
Oh,
12.
I just thought I'd add that.
Okay.
It's all part of
Well, you're going to mess up the story.
Oh. As I get older, 13, it is getting more and more aggressive.
That was really good, Scott. I'm
was.
glad
I'm not
that
done.
you acted it out. All right.
They claim to wake up on a regular basis with very large bruises and welts. But they say they're more concerned for the others around them due to the risk of violence.
So you went from like a Wolfman Jack, and then I heard a little bit of Ireland or something in there, and you got a bunch of stuff
I'm
going
feeling
on.
it, I have to go with the flow, man.
You remind me of the Bush family. What are those people that live in the Alaska bush? The Bush people or
the
something?
fake ones?
Yeah.
The ones that
They have all
actually
their-
have a real home, and the whole thing was
Yeah.
yeah.
You sound like them with their weird accents. They all
One
got,
down, two to go.
they got weird accents. That's what you're
Yeah.
like.
Anyways,
Yeah, they're all
I
fake.
know what you're talking about, actually.
What's that show called? The Alaskan people?
Alaskan people, I think. Well, I don't get...
Alaskan Bush people. That's
Maybe
what it's
that's
called.
what it is. 'Cause I
Yeah.
know there's three different Alaskan shows.
I
but-
said Bush. There, everybody's probably thinking like
What?
Jeb
What did
Bush.
George do?
Yeah.
No.
So with this family, they have a lot of different things going on as far as more. It doesn't sound necessarily like haunting. It sounds more like physical attacks. And they added that people around them are beginning to notice unexplained bruising, scratches, and rashes on their bodies as well. And also,
Maybe they have leprosy.
people were also becoming violently sick in front of the
Leprosy.
owners. And they mentioned that they've had instances where they saw people being pushed down the stairs and doors being slammed on them too. So, I'm wondering, I don't know. It sounds more
At their
demonic.
house,
It doesn't
though,
sound like a
right?
haunting.
It's at their house. I mean,
Right, yeah, at their house. Now, they explain that it comes and goes in long periods, and there was one time that actually made its presence known, and the victims feel that when this entity is recognized, activity gets real bad. And they do say that they have many witnesses and photos. The one thing that I did notice with people who who experience demonic versus like hauntings is when they are in the presence of something demonic, they seem to know what the demonic is trying to it feels like this person saying, well, I know that I knew what it was and everything. Like when they say they have a ghost, they don't really connect. Remember E.T. and the little kid, whatever his name was.
E.T. phone home.
And they had that bond, and he felt Elliot. He felt what Elliot felt. Are you gonna?
E.T. phone home. E.T. phone home. E.T.
Yeah.
phone home. E.T. phone home.
That's lovely. I'll wait till you're done, and then I can finish.
Okay, go ahead.
I feel like I'm in kindergarten. I can't have a conversation. Oh my gosh. I need conversations with adults. Somebody out there. All right. But they have this connection with a demonic spirit. Oh. You know what I'm saying? They know what the spirit is going to say, or not say, but how they're feeling. And so I can't have this. I can't do this. I'm gonna shut the whole program down right now. I'm gonna shut it off. I wish I could mute you.
Go ahead, go. I'm serious now. I'm like a rock. I'm so serious.
Okay. I don't even know what to say.
You got me started. I can't help it.
No, you got yourself started.
No,
So yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
I didn't listen to anything.
I didn't think so. Yeah. Well, they have a connection. They know what the spirit is trying to relay, or what the spirit thinks or feels, versus a ghost where.
What's the history of where they're at? What's going on? What's
they're in
being
Illinois.
asked? I mean, is there a history of the property? Is there a history of a person that lived there?
Well, no, but I don't think it's a haunting type thing, because this is all people are getting violently sick and they're getting physically attacked, but they're not really and people are getting pushed, but they're not talking about lights flickering and doors slamming. So I don't think it's a haunting. It sounds demonic to me, but. And they talk about it, that it goes in long periods and then it stops, and then it goes and it stops. So I don't know.
I disagree with the demonic. So you and I always have a different opinion of that, but I do believe that hauntings, if you will, are lost spirits in a specific location, especially if you give them any attention. And that would go for demonic or lost souls either way. As soon as you give it attention, you've just fed it some food.
But I don't believe that.
I know you don't believe. Doesn't mean you're right, does it?
When someone dies,
they stop living.
What makes you think that they have power? That their spirit has power? Well, why would they?
Why wouldn't they?
Well, if they didn't have power here, why would they have power there?
Because they're in a different realm.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's a lot of ability and energy that we know that the soul never dies.
Right.
We know the souls, according to the Word of God, tells us those in Christ rest in peace until the coming, or the second coming of our Lord God Almighty.
You know what? We're not going to podcast after you work out anymore. You are all keyed up. You've got every accent going on. I don't know what's going on.
Anyways, so I believe that demonic, I don't see them letting up for any reason. They might do a little bit of a wave here and there, up and downs, work with what's going on, but they're going to continue to dig deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper until they get what they want. Or a hauntings could come and go with a season, could come and go with certain actions, certain things being said, something going on that like reawakens them, just like, giving them sugar.
So you think that a dead person, when they cross over and they're stuck in wherever they're stuck, that they can put like handprints on doors and they can physically hurt people? You do think that?
I do.
Yeah, see, I don't.
That's my belief. I believe that a rotten soul, somebody who's just, dies and they're just a horrible, rotten, somebody rotten, and they can be somewhat tormenting to the living.
Why would God allow them to have any kind of power or authority?
Whether they have power or authority, or God's given it to them and God's in control, but who are the people? What are their lives about? Are they, riding the fence of good and bad? Are they good people? Are they just as lost and not protected? Or is God giving them a wake-up call to, You know, you've lived it too. We've lived lots of fearful things.
Yeah, but I think it's demonic, though. I don't think it's a person because the Bible doesn't talk about any dead people. It talks about the demonic torturing people, but it doesn't talk about ghosts.
We can argue about this all day long.
It's just no, we're not arguing. It's a good conversation to have.
Okay, you want to be right? You're right then.
No, I don't know. I don't know if I'm right.
This right.
I just think it's an interesting conversation, a good debate.
Yes, super right. You're right. You're
oh
right.
my gosh, you sound like Dr. Evil. Do you know what I'm talking about when he says that?
No.
Oh, you totally sound like Dr. Evil. You're doing Dr. Evil and you don't even know it? Wow.
You're right.
God, now you're channeling.
Your body well right. You got a body right. No.
All right. So, one of the pictures is that inhuman-looking handprint.
Yes, burned into their bedroom door. And another, one burned into the wall next to their headboard. They say both the door and the wall had to be sanded down because of it.
You're going to get a job on prime time.
God, I'm trying so hard.
You're
somebody
good.
pick me up, man. I can't do this construction work forever, brothers. Sisters out there, have some compassion for me, man.
Well, they tell how they went to the Catholic Church, but whoever they spoke to seemed to be put off by their story and didn't even pray for them. And that's something we hear a lot.
That's
and we hear about it in the news. We hear about it in our lives.
Lots of churches, they put up a wall of protection, too, because they don't want to draw too much of this.
And then everybody
all of a sudden, it's like, oh, my goodness. And there's a reason for it. There's a reason that they were like, no. There might be some information you don't know.
That's what I was thinking.
And there's things that are going on. I mean, maybe this is something these people have. We've all known people and had people in our lives, in our churches, in our workplaces, and whatever, that it's always something. It's always something with these people. It's drama. It's a problem. I'm sick. This happened to me. I have no money. I have no food. Every other week's another problem. Yeah. And so you don't know, with this particular instance, in this particular church and whatever, that it was just like, oh, come on, really? We're not going to get involved in this and start getting our names all over the newspapers and things going on, and it may not be the best interest. Sometimes you have to let little things go in order for the better of the people, or the better of the church, or the better of the outcome of the rest of the city. Yeah, I buy that. And so this could be one of those cases. I don't know, so I can't really speculate. All I know is, maybe there just isn't quite enough evidence to say, yeah, this is real, or maybe it's kind of like the story with The Exorcist. We know that the true story of the movie The Exorcist, the true story is so much worse than even the movie. Right. To the point where they're saying, okay, this is so nasty that we can't even put it on television back in that day. Mm-hmm. And so, because nobody was going to believe it. Well, maybe this is one of those incidents where it's like, this is so real that who's going to believe it? I don't know. Right. We're not there. All we can say is, if we were there, well, I can bet your bottom dollar we would do something about it.
We would try, at least.
Right. So, what is interesting in this is how the victims say they never felt threatened by the presence until recently. So they obviously knew there was something there for a while. So why didn't they look for help at that time?
They don't. People don't do that.
What?
They think they have like a friendly ghost, and
I have a friendly ghost,
and I hang out with them and talk to them.
Yeah,
and
he just ripped my eyes out of my head. I think it was an accident.
Well, people just sort of accept now that spirits are there.
We've heard the story of so many people, people who write us, people and stuff. Oh, I don't think it's, a bad ghost. I think it's a good ghost. So really, you got some dead spirit floating around your house doing things to you, and that's okay. Usually I try to steer away from things I can't see that do things.
Yeah.
I mean,
how uncomfortable is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do they pour your coffee for you in the morning? Answer, probably no. Open your door for you, fold your clothes. All these answers will be no. But yeah, sometimes he rattles the door and makes the lights flicker. Well, that's pleasant. Yeah, that sounds like a real good time. That's exactly who I want in my house in the middle of the night when I'm trying to sleep.
Well, if you're sitting there and all of a sudden you see an apparition, that's scary. Yeah. So it's like, I would like them there.
Why is it always dark shadows? Why aren't they coming like pretty pastels?
Sometimes they do, though.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
In pictures and stuff? Yeah. I don't know. But, like spirits can be very deceitful too. Like demonic can come as spirits, as your grandma or your grandpa or something. You don't know.
Yes.
So it could be a spirit, like a demonic spirit pretending to be.
Yes.
So it's best to get rid of it the second you know it's there. Because otherwise...
Very second. That's right.
Otherwise it gets bad.
Nip it in the bud.
That's right. Other instances they talked about were things like they found a picture laying face down on their dresser, and when they picked it up to put it back, their face had been scratched out.
Happens.
Yeah. When they go to sleep,
that's called divorce.
When they go to sleep at night, they have to be in restraints because they sleepwalk, and then they go into like fits of convulsions and screaming, and people have a hard time waking them up. Not when you're sleeping. No.
Yeah.
No.
I used to sleepwalk when I was a kid.
Sounds more like night terrors.
Yeah.
Which is common with demonic presences. Yeah.
No. Could be.
It could be.
Yeah, that deep of a sleep and kind of problems happening could be. So, yeah, it does sound like night terrors, which is common. They also said that when they sleepwalk, they're undoing the restraints and they're also unlocking the doors.
Didn't you sleepwalk when you were little?
Yeah, I just said that. Where were you 10 seconds ago?
No, but I mean, like, was it... did you just do it, like, one time? Or
no.
Was it on a regular basis?
It was a regular basis, but I never remember being fearful in any way, but it was just a very, very deep sleep, which is common with people...
that are crazy?
No, I think when you start going into that whole 10, 11, 12, 13 years of age, you deep sleep and stuff like that, yeah.
Well, you wouldn't be scared because you would wake up in the kitchen or something, or did you go back
no, my
to bed?
parents would know. My mom told me one time. She goes, and she knew I sleptwalk all the time, but I would not recollect any of it, none of it.
So would she have to turn you around?
She
and
said
put you
I would
to bed?
actually come because she'd get up like 4:30 in the morning because she had to be to work really early, and I would just take myself to school. I didn't have to go that far, and I was old enough to take myself to school. But I would actually, she said, walk into the living room, sit down, and carry on a complete conversation with her. Stop, get up, walk back to the bedroom, go to sleep. Never know. And she knew I was out.
That would be creepy.
Right. She knew I was totally out.
She wasn't creeped out, huh?
No, she knew it.
No.
But now one time, back at band camp, one time, I guess, I walked into my parents' bedroom, and I went through their door and then went like behind their door as if I was going. It was the same pattern as going to the bathroom. Right. It was I didn't pee on the wall. Oh. But it was the same pattern, except I probably took one step or two steps too much, which instead of being in the hallway, put me in their bedroom because it was straight across.
Okay.
And then I went behind the door and closed the door. I was basically bumping into the wall. And my dad being a little bit like, what's going on? Turn on the light, whatever. He's like, Scott, what are you doing? And I just freaked out, I guess, because he woke me up.
Oh.
I guess I just... I mean, I guess you're not supposed to really wake sleepwalkers up.
Yeah.
You just send them back to their direction and
oh, my gosh.
let them go.
So creepy.
I was just absolutely in shock. I don't know why it would be, but hey, I was a kid. I'm okay now. I'm tapping. I'm moving. I know. I feel it. It's often I levitate during these podcasts, but it happens.
You're not levitating.
Oh, but what do you call it then when I leave my seat?
You're not leaving your seat. You're banging on the table.
Oh.
But you know what? You didn't have any paranormal stuff. It was just sleepwalking. So that was probably a physical. And then it just stopped.
Right.
Huh.
Yeah. So, I mean, you don't have to be, not everything's got to be demonically oppressed to, Heidi. Some people just
I know.
sleepwalk.
That's what I'm saying. Although you're still crazy. So,
no, I'm not
I mean.
crazy. I'm perfectly normal. Ask me.
So they did go into a psychologist to talk about the situation, and the psychologist said that it's not out of the norm for sleep disorders. But, all the other stuff, it's, everything else that's going on with the handprint and the pushing and the bruises, and that's not normal. So I don't know. But I guess MUFON is now investigating the bizarre allegations, and so even though they do UFO stuff, they're going to investigate.
Now, let's talk about our last story. It's about something that happened to a 12-year-old girl who recently played a spirit calling game. This took place in San Pedro. And while playing the version of Charlie Charlie, this girl's body and face swelled up. The way they played was with an upside-down wine glass as a planchette and strips of paper with letters on them. I'm just really trying to get a job.
Yeah. Okay, it was good though.
Was it?
Yeah, I felt like I was watching one of those like Twilight Zone episodes or something.
Let me see what people have to say about it. Of course, we don't get any emails anymore.
Well, we do.
Everybody does everything on. They listen to it when we first started out.
iTunes,
Everything was done on
Spreaker,
and then we got all. But now people really can't reply on the device.
We get emails with questions or people saying, "Hey, great show, like the show," but not the real long ones like we used to.
Which hurts my feelings. My feelings are hurt. Both of them.
You have such a personality complex. It's
Do
okay.
I?
Yeah.
Do I?
Why would you be hurt if people don't
I'm hurt,
email us
okay?
long emails?
You're going to question me why I'm hurt?
Well, the girl's mother said what's going on with her daughter, what it feels like is a person's inside of her daughter that will not let her be quiet.
Could be. So now, before this, the mom said she never really considered this sort of thing, much less did she believe it. They're putting this story out there because they're seeking some help, and sometimes that's what it is. You shoot information out. I guess that's where YouTube and everything else got so famous about things. It's like, you know what, I got a problem here, and I learned how to fix this. Maybe I'll put it out there to somebody else. I know it's different, but that's what you do when you have a problem. You can put it out there, and lo and behold, you will find people with similar problems and issues, and some will say, here's a solution I found, or here's somebody you should contact to help you. And that's where we come in. That's right, Hattie and Scott Linden.
I wouldn't believe how many people write me about my book and say, I experienced like the same stuff you did. And just, in fact, the guy we were talking to last night.
Right.
When I told him that I couldn't go into a mall or whatever because I knew what was in people's heads. And
we brought it up to him, and he's like, whoa, that happens to me. And it's like, and I knew that just speaking to him. I'm like, there's a lot going on in your head, and I can see that there's distractions within spiritual distractions.
Yeah, when you're sensitive to spiritual stuff, it's just you can't turn off because you don't know how to control it. So it's hard. So, and like in our other story, these people tried to get a local priest to conduct an exorcism. And I think sometimes people get confused what an exorcism is for. When someone is possessed by the devil, that is what an exorcism is for. But when you have a haunting, you don't need an exorcism. You're
not always going to be possessed by the devil himself.
Right. Well,
you're going to be possessed, though, by
demons.
Demons, yeah.
Right. But what I'm saying is, instant someone has a spiritual oppression, they're like, I'm possessed by the devil. That's what they think.
And
I need an exorcism.
It's not even biblical.
Right. Yeah.
Because only one has ever been possessed by Satan themselves, and only one more will be possessed by Satan themselves. But there's plenty of minions out there.
Yeah, there's
and they
demons
can do
everywhere.
Plenty of damage.
Yeah, you can call them demons, devils, whatever you want to call them. So. But this lady's, Betty Rodriguez is the journalist who's been investigating the story, and she said that she witnessed the girl's voice change and that she started becoming very violent. And also claimed that the girl had said that she wanted to kill her sister during one of these, incidences. So, there is a difference between demonic possession and spirit influence.
Sure, influence, right.
So you can feel that negativity with this around a spirit, but if a demon takes you over, there's been
cases
screwed.
of that. We've heard there's been different stories and movies and different things. Emily Rose.
Mm-hmm. Annalise, the true story, Annalise McKell.
Right, I believe that was a true demon possession. And that's what a true demon possession will do is they will take that individual, they will use that individual and beat that individual till they're gone.
Right.
Starve them, beat them because they don't care.
Right.
The demonic world does not care what they do to that soul. Good, bad, indifferent. They don't care.
And there's levels of demons. So some demons are going to do different things and have more authority or power. And Robbie Mannheim, who is the pseudonym for the real boy in Exorcist, even though it was a girl in the movie. Same thing. I believe that was.
She needed something to do.
I believe that was demonic.
Right.
So there's a few cases.
Absolutely.
But I think there's higher up demons, and then there's lower.
You know what you would think our logical thoughts say that a demon that could do such a horrible thing to somebody would be a high-level demon, and actually it's probably just the opposite. A high-level demon is going to be someone who works very slick and smooth. Someone who manipulates, tricks, draws other people in, does a little here, a little there. And that's exactly how Satan works. He's the top demon.
Yeah.
And he does it very slowly and carefully, draws a little truth, a little false. Your lower-level demons are the ones that are just all hell-bent for destruction.
Yeah.
Because they can. And so it's not always what you think. Sometimes the more action you have with a demon, actually the lower level demon it is. Not that it's going to make you feel any better. It doesn't change much about how you
no
feel.
demons.
But I'm just saying that it's opposite of what you might think.
Right.
So,
good point.
I mean, it's easy to sense danger and trouble and warning signs when those things are very abrupt and sudden and strong. You're like, whoa, you back off. But if it's subtle and smooth,
well, think of it too,
it draws you right in.
Like we've talked about before, like an army. When you've got a general, he's got more time, more experience, he's higher up, but he doesn't really do much of the work. He sends other people, he's not the one in the middle or at the battleground.
Right. He's not the one shooting the gun.
Yeah.
So, exactly.
Yeah, so it's just like that.
Exactly the same, like almost Xeroxed.
Whoa.
Mirror image.
I'm good.
All right, good. Well, so now we get to the real story. All the other stories were fake.
No, no, they were real.
Oh, they were?
Yeah.
Okay. So now we're going to get to the real story of the hour, which is spirit cooking. And this is all news to me, but not my spousal partner.
Okay, that's one way to call me. So not a lot of people have heard about this term before, but it's actually been out in the news regarding the whole presidential campaign. And once that came out during the presidential campaign, it was everywhere. So we're going to get into this. Okay, so just a little backstory for anybody who's not aware of what WikiLeaks is. It's a nonprofit international media organization, and they publish secret information. They do news leaks and classified media from anonymous sources. So basically, they hack into computers and find our information. Because, the government doesn't share with us many things, so they're like, we're going to find out. They specialize in the publication of large databases and restricted official material. So
much for our security if you think about it.
Oh, no kidding. No kidding.
I mean, how secure can it be?
Well, how it started was they sent like when you get those emails saying, hey, your account's been hacked, you need to change your password, go to this link now and change it.
Right.
So they did that to one of these government guys who were like, duh, and he's like, oh, I better do it. So then what does he do? He sends it out to all his other people too.
Oh, but it's just opened up the door.
So now they have
Everybody's
the
in.
name and the password right. So that's how they did it. And it
Good
just
job, bonehead.
So, a story broke out that the FBI confirmed actually last week when WikiLeaks released a couple emails from John Podesta, and he is the head honcho for Hillary Clinton. Now, it links Podesta and his brother possibly to spirit cooking. And spirit cooking is sort of like a spiritual, esoteric concept of cooking. It started with this whole artist, Marina Abramovic, and she came up with this whole thing.
So it's also referred to as sex magic, a link to rituals by Aleister Crowley as followers of Thelema.
Yeah. Well,
this stuff gets deep. I mean, it never. There's always something.
Yeah.
But, and I know you haven't read the story, but you go on and people say, well, who would do this and who would do that, and why would this happen? Why would that happen? But there will always be a level of success with enough faith. Now, that faith doesn't always have to be in something good.
Exactly.
You can have enough faith in something bad, and if you put enough into it, there is power and energy within our spirit to cause and make things to happen. I don't deny a level of power to white witches or dark witches or people of different faiths and religions and stuff, or people that Satanists. I don't deny that they have a power.
Right.
I'm not going to say, they're powerless. No, they're not. Because they have a level of faith and belief and trust in what they do that, for whatever reason, there is a spiritual power. Mm-hmm. I just happen to believe and trust in the ultimate spiritual power.
Who would be God?
Yes.
Yes. Well, I think, too, that doesn't mean that every person who says that they're a witch or Wiccan or whatever.
Well, they
or
don't all
Satanist,
have it. No.
No. But, you know, and then there's people who practice the occult and magic and stuff. And, you know, God says he doesn't want us messing with that for a reason.
Well,
because we don't know what we're tapping into.
If it was harmless, there would not be an issue of doing it. We even go into biblical things about, what's that, King Saul or whatever, when he called back...
Samuel. When he called
Samuel
back the prophet Samuel.
Mm-hmm. Well, he went and seen somebody who's known to be able to do this. This is something that actually happened. So it's not... it's possible. You can't deny it. It's very possible.
Yeah.
And so there's people who read fortunes and do different things, and some of them are real. There's a reason they can do this.
And that's why God says not to do it.
These weird things that she's about to read and go into detail about, there's a reason they do it. There's been an effect that it works.
Well, so
to some degree.
This artist in 1996, Marina Abramovna, blah, blah, she came up with this whole aphrodisiac ingredient recipe. It includes fresh breast milk, fresh sperm milk, and fresh morning urine.
Oh,
and
how
to
pleasant.
be consumed on only earthquake nights. Of course.
Huh.
You know, of course.
So New York's Museum of Modern Art called it a cookbook for evocative haunting, instructions for actions or thoughts.
So even though they title it as art and as you know, nothing, it is like you said, a form of faith. They're putting their time and energy and their passion into this, and that's an energy, and they're giving it something. And I'm a strong believer in demonic influence, and so they can whisper in our ear. They can't make us do anything, but they sure can influence us strong. And I think that's where a lot of artists and people, where they draw these such realistic depictions of demons and stuff. Where did they get that? Come on, you know?
No, there's things people see in their heads and their minds, or maybe physically see things. Just because you and I maybe don't see it doesn't mean somebody else don't.
And I have seen demonic things, but not to the extent of these artists. The things that I have seen almost look like tar and stuff, so they don't have the detail, which
but
I'm thankful for.
You've seen enough to tell you that, you know, from your point of view, saying, no, you personally haven't seen some of those things that the artist drawn, but you know that you have seen things that nobody else is seeing. Therefore, you know the possibility of somebody else seeing things much deeper or clearer or
right. Oh,
worse
definitely.
is very possible. We can't, you know, some of our listeners might say, well, you know, come on. Maybe people are hallucinating or on something. You don't understand. In the spiritual realm, different individuals can tap into and feel things that not all of us can.
Right.
Sometimes people can just know something without an explanation.
Yeah.
I do believe that people can move things with their mind. I believe that people can see things that other people can't see. I believe that you can practice all sorts of weird, mysterious things, just like the Ouija board, if you think about it. If you really think about the Ouija board, anybody, and there's a lot of people who've played with Ouija boards.
Yeah, it's common.
We know that anybody who's taken it seriously at all, that thing works without explanation.
When you put enough energy into it,
It's a piece of cardboard with a piece of plastic, planchette on top of it. It doesn't have any mechanical device whatsoever, with no explanation as to why it would work.
Right.
Other than something more going on that you cannot see.
Yeah, and scientists do say that it's the vibration off our fingers. And, you know, that is very possible, but not every time.
The one time I did it, and I told you this, you know, and we've talked about this in previous shows, and I was probably at 25 or so with somebody. It was almost unexplainable, because this thing, after a time, got to moving so quickly, so fast. There ain't no vibration, because our hands, our fingers or whatever, were leaving the planchette. It was going on its own.
Yeah.
And I seen the candle next to us was literally, the flame was getting so ridiculously high without explanation. It was like, okay, this is not something I practice or do, so it's not like I had all this divine power or something.
Yeah.
It was like, whoa.
Because that was your girlfriend or whatever that was using it too.
It was a friend of mine, yeah.
Did you know about it about the Ouija board before that? Like, were you aware of what that was, or were you introduced to it that day?
I think I was kind of introduced to it at that time.
So you didn't know.
Not really, nor did I believe it.
Gosh, by 25, I had done so much.
Yeah, that was enough for me, and that was enough for me. And then so right away when you see this thing booking around,
it's like moving ahead of your fingers.
Our fingers weren't keeping up with the planchette.
Yeah.
And it kept spelling the same things over and over again.
Yeah.
Because the friend I was with, her husband was in the other room pretty much mocking this thing the whole time. So this is stupid, you people this, and what are you doing and all this?
Yeah.
And it kept spelling his name out, and then it spelled its name out, and all these different things, and it was like, whoa, this is like, okay, you can like totally keep this thing. I don't, it was theirs anyways, but I'm like,
yeah.
Then when they moved away, they left it there.
Yeah, smart.
Yeah, we'll just leave it in the closet. Great.
That's the start of a good horror flick.
Now we know what happened to our inner city.
Well, I think that they can influence us in different ways, even when we're not opening the door. That they're around, if we're in a place where the spirits are. So I didn't
want to interfere with that, but I just seen it like the stuff that you're going to read is there's a reason.
Well, I think this Marina chick definitely was influenced because. In a second, we'll talk about an interview with her, and she's very much into spiritual things. The article went on to say that she considers herself a mystic, which is sort of like a psychic witch kind of thing. And she explains her fascination with spirituality and masochism, which, if anybody doesn't know what that is, that's the whole sexual gratification through pain and humiliation. So, she's not out of the norm. She's a little bit different.
Yeah. So I know that John Podesta and his brother Tony are said to be huge players in the elite establishment.
Like the Illuminati and stuff?
Yeah, exactly. These emails show that Tony inviting John to come to a spirit cooking dinner, and he was holding with Marina herself. Marina does spirit cooking dinners as events. Wow. So we know what's on the menu.
It's gross.
We need some more breast milk over there. Huh?
That's gross. I started thinking about, some of this stuff, and they talk about the blood and the urine and all this stuff. And I was thinking about the Bible, and I know in Genesis 9:4, where God tells us that flesh with the life is in the blood, shall ye not eat.
Oh, so flesh
with the life is the blood, shall ye not eat. Huh. And this is one of like 4 or 5 scriptures that say that we should not eat flesh and we should not drink blood. So I thought that was interesting.
So Leviticus 17:11, the Bible says, "For the life of the flesh is in the blood." So
there's a power to this blood.
So vampires are no-nos.
Correct. Yes.
There goes the neighbor.
And there's many spells in witchcraft that call for the same types of ingredients as the spirit cooking too. Menstrual blood.
Oh, how wonderful.
Amniotic sac of a baby.
One of my favorites.
Spit. Semen.
Yay!
Tears. Urine and feces.
Big old feces. Yeah.
Head hair.
Who had the corn? Somebody had too much corn last night.
Head hair and pubic hair.
Wonderful.
And nail clippings.
Okay, what a nice mix.
Well, in many forms of magic, bodily fluids are considered a bonding agent. So you
put enough of that crap together, it's going to bond to something.
It's so gross. Well, different things mean different
Sure.
spells. But with the spirit cooking, that wasn't the entire list either. And I'm actually going to put a link on our webpage of this Marina chick, and it's, I want to say it's like, I could be wrong, about 20 minutes long, and she has videotapes herself doing this weird spirit cooking thing. She paints on the wall and gives all the ingredients on the wall and stuff.
Oh.
Very weird. So this was in 96.
It's not that long ago.
1996.
Right, 1996.
Right,
this is not that long ago.
Right.
We're talking 20 years.
And so she's known in the elites, someone who does, like, how Heidi Fleiss was the Hollywood Madam? Well, this Marina chick's sort of like the government witch. I mean, really,
Right.
So, and a lot of people...
And these people that are partaking in this kind of stuff are not... These are,
like
not
Hillary
people,
Clinton,
if you will.
because people were pointing it to Hillary Clinton, and there's no, it wasn't Hillary, but it was John Podesta. But they say that all these people are connected, like Hillary Clinton is friends with this chick, and you don't hear about this in the mainstream media. And then, unfortunately, you do get some radical conspiracy theorists who take it to another level, and they spread things that aren't true, so you really have to dig to find out what's true and what's not.
Absolutely.
So some of this is true because the FBI did confirm that these emails were real. But the only thing is it doesn't talk about in the email saying it's a spirit cooking dinner. However, Marina is mentioned that she's hosting the dinner, and because she hosts these types of dinners, that's where they're making the connection, saying that John Podesta and who else. And then the latest email was her Hillary Clinton's chick, the Huma chick. Yeah. Okay, so, and then Huma had responded that she was probably going to come too. Oh. And she was always with Hillary. So they're just sort of like weaving together some of the holes in all this.
Yes, I have some fresh spit I'd like to offer. So in ancient Greece and Rome, blood was considered to have strong magical properties. Well, even still to this day, many believe that very thing.
Yeah.
And urine is used in curses.
Right. So, I mean...
I've been cursing that tree and back for a long time then.
Gross. So I know that, in Wicca and Satanism, and even in a lot of different religions and cultures, blood and urine and stuff, it's not that out of the ordinary. It's just out of the ordinary for our culture. So when we hear it, it's like, whoa. And then when we hear that our government's partaking in this stuff, it's like sort of creepy. Not that I'm saying it's right, but it's just, ew. Because blood seems to be a huge factor in all these religions. And New Agers believe that blood acts as a bridge between the body and the spirit. Now, in the Old Testament, we know that blood was an issue where God said you need to sacrifice an animal for the blood, for cleansing. Okay. Right. And then in the New Testament, it was the blood of Jesus that he sacrificed his blood for us.
So it's not,
So it's not like really crazy to say that this is partaking. And if you get into the whole, which we don't really
do. That's probably where it all comes from anyway.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's...
Satan's a copycat with all his rituals. Yeah. And then you figure also that with the whole Illuminati and the Masons and stuff and all these rituals they do, it always has to do with blood and weird kinds of things. So... and these rituals partake in the blood of people. So this is where, I guess animals, not that it's acceptable, but at least it's animals. But when people start hearing that you're drinking the blood of people and, baby sac fluid, ew. I mean, it's gross.
Ew.
So, and that's usually involved with dark practices. So that's where people are getting freaked out about this stuff. Mm-hmm. And then, now... what they do, though, the demonic and stuff, and I know that people that I used to hang out with, when they would share what little they shared with me about the whole Wicca and some Satanists, okay? So what they would do is they would take the physical function of the blood and they would parallel it to the spiritual function. So I made a little note of what some of that was. Now, with the blood, when you, actual blood, okay, in our body, one of the functions is transporting oxygen and nutrients to the lungs and the tissues. But the spiritualists say that has to do with healing. So that's the physical aspect of healing. Blood also forms blood clots to prevent excess blood loss. And they're saying it's spiritually, it's a physical protection.
Okay.
Physically, blood carries cells and antibodies that fight infection, and spiritualists say that means that it's a spiritual protection. Our blood also brings waste products to the kidneys and liver, which filter and clean through the blood, and a lot of spiritualists say that's equal to clearing the negative and unclean spirits. And our physical blood regulates our body temperature. And spiritually, they're saying blood can help keep a healthy balance in life. So a lot of their spells and rituals and stuff involve blood to do some of these different things.
Okay.
So, and I know the flesh and spirit are on two different levels. And when you mix the two, you sort of like open those revolving doors that spiritually that you don't want to mess with.
Correct, Amundo.
So, I mean, there's definitely something to this.
There is, and
And how deep our government people are in, I don't know.
oh, I mean, you can research these things with the Illuminati and things that goes on with it.
Bohemian Grove.
Yeah, there's always going to be a handful of people. Oh, well, you conspiracy people. It's not a conspiracy. Look it up.
Yeah.
Find out for yourself. I mean,
yeah, a lot of
there's
this is
pictures,
facts.
there's videos, there's all sorts of things. It's hard to call something a conspiracy if you see somebody doing it.
Yeah.
It's like, really? You call it a conspiracy? There they are. They're doing it. People from TV or popular figures, and it's not a Republican Democrat thing either. It goes both ways.
Right. Oh, sure it does.
It goes both ways, and they are in much of the same tied together more than you think.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's all part of...
And I think that's why Trump's having such a
NWO.
difficult time with acceptance things, because he doesn't fit into them categories.
I hope not.
And but there's always stuff we don't know. Always something we don't know.
That's true.
And by the time we find out, it's like, oh, too late now.
Too late.
So
it's
anyways.
like you had heads up, but you didn't know. All right. Well, that's it. We're done with this.
We're done with it.
Thank you guys for listening. And next week, we are going to have such a cool discussion on fear.
That scares me.
Ooh, fear. We're going to talk about all different aspects of fear. Why we fear, why some people like to be scared. Is there a difference between fear and being scared? And we're also going to take some horror flick scenarios and find out how realistic were they and what was possible, what isn't, how we'd really react. It's going to be a good one.
We'll put ourselves in the eyes of the people.
Yeah.
And how would we really react and respond?
That's going to be good.
Yes.
So hope you guys can join us. We'll meet you back here next week. Same time, same place, different discussion. And of course, on the Spiritually Bizarre.
And until next time, don't ever pass peeking through the looking glass, 'cause there's nothing sadder than a hesitant Mad Hatter.
Hey, this is Heidi from Talk Supernatural. You guys know I like to talk, right? So let's keep the topic going. Like our Facebook page, Talk Supernatural Podcast, and follow us on Twitter at TSR Parapod. Like us, love us, hate us, hit us up with an email, talksupernatural@gmail.com. Listen live on Friday nights and join us in the chat room. We'll make you guys part of the show.
Check out more from Talk Supernatural Radio. Head over to tsradio.net. You can listen to TSR on iTunes, Spreaker, TuneIn, and YouTube. If you have any questions or would like to know more on spiritual afflictions, hauntings, demonic influence, check out Scott and Heidi's SWAT resource site at EPH612SWAT.com.
This world's a tortured place to be. So many things to torment me. And as I stumble down this road, it takes a toll. I need an intervention. But I can see it coming. Some things just can't be explained.
And that's all, folks.